Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Storytime series. This is where I give the Exoticals a chance to tell our stories because for years, unambiguous black women and men have been telling our stories for us. They've been speaking on our behalf, and so I'm glad that we are finally taking back our voices. So if you have any stories of bullying, pretty girl problems, colorism, texturism, featureism, or even if you have a confession you want to make. So, for example, do you have a superiority complex? Have you ever stolen anybody's man? Have you ever utilized any of your privileges to get more of an opportunity in life? If so, please email me at exoticalsunited@gmail.com because this is the most important series on this channel. The thing that people get mad about the most is the fact that the Exoticals are taking back our own identities and we're finally speaking out for ourselves, so nobody else can speak on our behalf. But this Exotical says, "Hi EU, I'm a Habesha girl who recently came across your YouTube channel a couple months ago and have been binging your content and have been subscribed ever since. I just wanted to thank you for including East Africans in your content because upon reflection, many of our experiences do sometimes mirror what biracial, mixed, or light-skinned women go through, even though we are typically a monoracial and unmixed group of people." Yeah, this channel is supposed to be focused on those who benefit from an ism, so colorism, texturism, or featureism. So usually that's being mixed or quote-unquote looking mixed. So a lot of Habeshas, I've actually been mistaken for Habesha myself. So a lot of people who are Habesha in the United States, that phenotype is going to get mistaken as mixed, or people are going to ask if you're like black and Arab or something, or black and Indian. And that's because East Africans, they don't have the same phenotype as an unambiguous mono dark-skinned black woman. And by the way, my definition of unambiguous came straight from black women empowerment creators themselves. So if anybody wants to argue, you can go argue with Chrissy, go argue with Queen Chama, I am Aloho, go argue with the women who created their own exclusive spaces and told us what the definition is. Honestly, I'm glad that they have created a separation. I'm glad that they have their own exclusive spaces because now we don't have to worry about being associated with the negative stereotypes or the bad branding and bad collective image that a lot of those women built for themselves on their YouTube channels. But this girl says, "Your channel opened up my eyes and taught me to stop humbling myself on a subconscious level, and that there's nothing wrong with using my God-given features to get ahead in life, whatever way I decide to social climb. I apologize in advance if this email ends up being too long because I have so much to say on this particular topic and it honestly sickens me to my stomach." I love when you guys send long emails. A lot of the short emails, they get overlooked. Because, if it's just 2 sentences, that's not enough for a YouTube video. So I like when you guys send the long story times. But she says, "I think it's no secret at this point that Habesha and Horn African women, more broadly on the internet, are constantly being over-sexualized by dark-skinned, unambiguous black men. To be honest, I mostly see this kind of behavior being done by African American and West African men. Things have literally gotten to a point where you can't even open a comment section under a post on social media related to Horn African culture, dance, or people, or anything else, without seeing literally dozens and dozens of weird-ass comments of these men just thirsting so hard like desperate dogs, talking about 'I want one,' talking about us as if we are just something to possess or have like an object up for sale. Or, do they like dark-skinned African-American men? Oh my God, that's so similar to the divested black women. They'll comment under white men's posts and be like, 'Do you like chocolate? Do you like dark-skinned women?' But she says they don't date outside their race. They keep to themselves. Like that's what black men are saying about Habeshas. And then they're also saying they would run to a white man first before an African-American. Next, just endless complaints about the fact that we don't pick them as partners over men from our own cultures. My biggest issue is that these men are not genuinely interested. It is simply a fetish over our features because a lot of them hate how they naturally look and think running to other cultures or races is somehow going to improve their gene pool. Other ethnic communities have noticed the way they constantly dog out and humiliate and disrespect their own women, and this is extremely unattractive behavior to us. Yeah, I will say that ever since Kevin Samuels came out, and ever since I witnessed this gender war between black women and black men, that actually pushed me further to not even date like unambiguous mono dark-skinned black men, because I'm like, wait a minute, if that's how they treat their own women, and if that's how they talk about women in general, like saying you're a 6 or you've hit the wall and all this crap, I wouldn't want to date those guys either. So I can see why their own women don't date them or whatever. I can see why they don't get along. But yeah, I feel like unambiguous black women and men both created a horrible collective image for themselves on YouTube. For men, it was the whole Kevin Samuels thing. They created a bad collective image. That actually caused me to raise my standards because once I saw how ruthless the men are on the Kevin Samuels channel when they're like, oh, she's a 6 or she's fat or what's her dress size. Did you know that after that, I never dated shorter guys again. I stopped dating bald guys because I was like, well, if they're so strict on our looks and so strict on everything about women, then why am I even giving these average guys a chance? I'll just be single then. I'll just decenter them. But she says they are better off accepting themselves for who they are because any Horn African knows that our genes are recessive AF. The truth is only 2 Habeshas can create a Habesha, and 2 Somalis can create a Somali, etc. I have seen many examples of children who are half Horn African and half another ethnicity, and the phenotype is literally obliterated within a generation and max within 2 generations. The child generally takes on more of the traits of the non-Horner parent. I am not a geneticist, so I can't explain why this is, but it might have to do with the fact that the Horner phenotype laid the blueprint for the rest of humanity since humans are thought to have originated from this region of the world. Ah, shit! So you're saying exoticals are the actual blueprint? Oh, they're going to call you racist for saying that. But she says it's just a very unique phenotype, so I'm not sure why these self-hating, desperate men think they are going to recreate that. I think this is one reason why many Horn Africans choose to marry within our own cultures, and I don't think there is anything wrong with wanting to preserve a culture, heritage, phenotype, because it shows self-love. It's also about familiarity. Habesha culture generally is very conservative and traditional and is heavily influenced by our Orthodox Christian faith. Many of the self-hating men complaining about not being able to have relationships with us or give them a chance, so lame, do not embody the traits that we value and don't understand anything about the cultural aspects that make us who we are. They bring carnage, low vibrational energy, and dysfunction. So why would anyone choose the complete opposite of how they were brought up in a partner? I would love for my children's phenotype to be a reflection of the unbroken 3,000-year history that my people hail from, and I am very proud of that. But in the eyes of these weirdos, all of the above I mentioned means you think you're better. Or they even accuse Habesha women of being racist, discriminatory, and stuck up for not picking them, and these men throw a hissy fit like a kid whose mom refused to buy them a toy. I have seen unambiguous people say online that Horn Africans don't acknowledge them in public, and we turn our noses up at them. Yes, have you ever seen people give that talking point, the you don't speak to nobody talking point? And they only give that talking point about people that they want validation from. They don't say that about unambiguous black men and women, like, oh, well, you don't speak to nobody, or somebody that they find hideous, or someone that they view as beneath them. They only care about you talking to them when they value your validation. But she says, literally, I cannot make this up. They are so desperate for our validation. I don't even think it's a greeting they want. They just want to be acknowledged by a person who they perceive as having privilege over them. That's exactly what it is. They want to be acknowledged by a privileged person. She says, it's a weird controlling thing. You can't even exist as a Horn African without random insecure, unambiguous black people accusing you of being Arab and not a real Ethiopian or not a real African. To be a Horn African is to consistently have your existence be a controversy and to be villainized unprovoked for just existing and having the features that we do as they glare at you with jealousy and hate. And we are the ones constantly being accused of having a superiority complex over other unambiguous black people. It sounds like a lot of projection going on, and I'm no longer going to sit by and take the abuse. Recently, a very popular African news Instagram page posted a video about the Ethiopian diaspora in Atlanta at an Ethiopia Day festival. The video was very clearly edited and curated in a way that it was showing girls who looked really young, like high school age even. Let's just say the comment section was a mess. I may have to send you the post because for me to tell you about all the disgusting comments would take too long. Maybe you can add some of the crazy comments by these men to your video. But to sum it up, a bunch of unambiguous black men doing what they usually do. I kid you not, there were men in those comments insulting Horners and going as far as to call us an inbred race of people, all because they are upset at being rejected because most of us don't want their crusty, dusty asses. Yeah, that's what they say when two light skinned people get together too. They try to accuse us of being inbreds. They'll be like, oh, you guys look like siblings. This girl says, sorry if this email was so long, by the way. It's just crazy the way us Habesha women are being policed and watched so closely over who we date and marry by a group of men who literally have nothing to do with us. It's normal for every other culture to marry their own men, and nobody bats an eye. But when it's us, they feel the need to question us like they are FBI agents. They have no right. The level of control they think they have over us is insane, and I need to see more of my Horn African people not being afraid to call out the BS when we see it. Sincerely, one of your subscribers who has gained a new perspective from your channel. Wow, are you a Horn African woman? Are you Somali? Are you like Ethiopian? Are you like Eritrean or something like that? What do you ladies think? Have you ever been fetishized by unambiguous black men? Have you ever been accused of being stuck up or being an inbred or dating a relative because of your phenotype? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.